I've been in a relationship for a long time, but I'm recently single. Now I'm trying to date and downloaded this Tinder application. Is this really what modern dating is? A better question is, what's out there? Do people still try to meet women in person? Or is it all applications? I'm told it's just applications, but that can't be right. Story 1. I know of 3 main ways. The nightlife scene. I have met a couple of girlfriends at bars. If you are a problem drinker, this is not the best approach. Through connections. Your friend's girlfriend might have some single friends as one example. Dating applications. Attractiveness and photo quality are big factors. Story 2. As the great Boomhauer showed us on King of the Hill, it's a numbers game. You can still get dates in person, and it's usually much easier in person than on applications. But I can swipe on 100 profiles on Tinder in a 20-minute time frame, whereas it would take much more time to meet 100 different girls that I'd want to talk to in person. Story 3. Dating apps mean you are being judged on your photo and your bio. Unless you are in the top 10% in looks, you are not going to get anywhere. It works as it always has. Network, go to friends' parties, housewarmings, etc. Go consistently to the same coffee shop and strike up that conversation, or ask a question in the bookstore. It's not like these things stopped working. It's just that everybody seems to find it easier to be rejected without facing someone in person. Thanks to all those who felt the need to provide their anecdotes about how I am wrong, and they met someone and they are only a 6 out of 10. Congrats, but that's not the general pattern these apps have. Of course, there are exceptions to the rule. A guy who took a year to get a date tried to tell me how wrong I was. Story 4. In Mexico, it's still pretty traditional dating, but I lived in Vancouver for 6 months and used Tinder. 0 dates from Tinder, 3 hookups from clubs, and 1 girlfriend from a club. To this very day, I don't know how to use Tinder. I get swiped, but we'd start talking, and it would usually lead nowhere. My friend later told me that if you don't ask for their phone number, they lose interest. I didn't ask for it once. If you're into it, the traditional style of dating is still extremely viable. Go to a club, bar, friendly reunion, or party and meet and talk to women. That's my suggestion because Tinder was an absolute nightmare for me and made me feel pretty bad. Story 5. Volunteer. I am 23 and have had 2 long-term girlfriends that I got to know first through volunteering. If you struggle with online dating, which does work if you are serious, you may want to try out a more serious site, though Tinder and Bumble don't count as serious. If picking up girls in a bar is difficult, then you likely aren't in the top 10% of physical attractiveness and aren't blessed with one of those crazy extroverted personalities. Don't feel bad. I don't fall into either of these categories, and we are in the majority. If you don't possess these qualities, then you probably need to get to know girls a little before you ask them out. Volunteering allows you to work with people, mostly girls, and get to know them. It also shows what a nice guy you are because you spend all of your time volunteering doing nice things. You also have the added benefit of preferring the people you meet for those that are kind, caring, and compassionate. Almost any volunteering that involves working with others will work, but if you really want to maximize your effort, volunteer in an area that attracts women in droves, like the animal shelter. Most animal shelters have a large number of single women volunteering and a small number of men. If these reasons weren't enough, volunteering has been shown to be hugely beneficial for happiness and will make you a better person in the process. Story 6. Dating works the same if you wanted to. If you want to go to the bar and meet people, you can. If you see a woman, you can talk to her and ask her out. Plenty of people still meet in real life from jobs, hobbies, church, groups, and so on. Online applications just make it easier to find people. Story 7. I am incompatible with dating in the modern era. You would never guess because I am good looking, but the way I am, it won't work. I need time to build that connection, and I'm not good at flirting or talking through text. I find it to be empty and void of any substance. I am a one-woman-at-a-time person. I can't go on multiple dates with different women constantly. I don't know, man. It's been 12 years since I've been on a date. I'm not bitter towards women. I love them, but I don't drink and don't socialize much, so it's hard. I've accepted I will likely end up alone forever, and I'm already planning for the future in case that becomes a reality. All I ever wanted was a nice girl who was like me, and we could support each other, have a family, and live a modest life. Everything is so geared towards gratification, and I've been left behind. Too inexperienced. Story 8. Every step of the process is painstaking and susceptible to failure. Get a match. 2. Have a good conversation. 3. Get a number. 4. Get a date. 5. Impress on the date. 6. Hook up or secure the next date. Story 9. Meet someone, hang out, get married, regret it, stay together because getting divorced is work and you do not hate them, so you do not want to be responsible for kicking them out, and so if you did not kick them out, nothing would change, so you just stay married. Story 10. Best advice I can give is to read the book Modern Romance by Aziz Ansari. He partnered with multiple distinguished psychologists, and the book is filled with thorough analysis and flooded with factual information about how things are, what's acceptable, and what's not. Story 11. It doesn't work. I hope you enjoy being single. With that being said, online dating works for men if you're willing to settle for a woman who you don't find very attractive. Women can and do match with guys who are relatively much better looking than them because the guys often just want to have sex, so women only ever swipe to these good-looking guys. In person is where you'll actually meet women you find attractive who might also be into you. The issue with in-person dating is that it's much harder, requires a lot more effort, tends to cost considerably more, and is extremely time-consuming. Overall, dating doesn't seem to work because everyone is so very different these days, which has reduced the number of people you would actually be compatible with. That's why you see a lot of people and celebrities discussing how they enjoy being single because they know there's no hope of ever finding someone. Good luck. Story 12. Woman here. I like Hinge a lot better than Tinder for apps, but I do think people still try to meet in person. Maybe that's just university since there are a lot of people within the same age range in the same location. Story 13. Tinder is mostly for ego boosting. Most matches you get will never talk to you, and hookups. Long-lasting relationships rarely start from Tinder, although they exist. Also, many people looking for relationship quality are not using these kinds of apps. I'm not saying those who use Tinder are bad. My point is, it attracts those who need an ego boost and are hookups, and it doesn't attract those who are looking for a serious relationship. Apart from dating apps, the dating scene is just the same as it has ever been, I guess. Bars, friends of a friend, social clubs, etc. Story 14. I was super against dating apps for the longest time, but at the age of 29, when I had a 4-year relationship end, friends convinced me to try. I was hesitant because I'm a laid-back, shy, nerdy female, and I didn't think I would have much success. I signed up for OkCupid, put up a few photos and a small bio, and ended up meeting my now boyfriend within 5 days of being on the site. We talked for a few days, met up, and had great chemistry. 2+ years later, we are living together, have a dog, and are very happy. Dating apps may seem daunting and the interactions may all seem shallow, but they are a great way to meet people and broaden your horizons. Good luck. Story 15. Dude, I was right there too not too long ago. After 5 years divorced, not sure if I'll ever have a love life again. Tried dating apps, but what the heck? Why is dating an online thing now rather than in person? We don't know anything about each other if it is all words on a cell phone screen. Well, I say, just let things happen. I posted up my Chevrolet Suburban to sell. A woman was interested. I was honest with her, and all buyers as stated in my ad. This thing was a lemon, worth more in parts than I was selling it for. Due to my honesty, she replied back. Turns out she is way out of my league. But heck, I wasn't going to let a sure thing go. Okay, so I hoped it was a sure thing. I emailed her, and she gave me her phone number. After a couple of days texting back and forth, I asked her out, and she accepted. That was 6 months ago. We are still dating and having a great time when we can get together. Will this last forever? To be honest, probably not, but I'm enjoying today, enjoying now what is available. Good luck, my friend. You will find your woman out there. Just don't put too much effort into it. The universe will come together for you in time. Story 16. Apps are okay, but don't be fooled into thinking this is what modern dating has become. Many people use them because they are desperate to stave off their loneliness. Yes, you can date via apps. Yet, almost all of these people will be receptive to organically sprouted relationships, and you may find that more fun. Men have varying degrees of luck with online dating. At its core, it's a numbers game. I'll give my perspective as someone who has an easy time getting dates via apps. I'll go into why I find the apps useful, but also why I've grown to really dislike them. Finally, I'll talk about my progress in only chasing women in real life. So, apps. In summary, I got a bunch of dates off them. The dates were mostly great. But the trade-off with facilitating dating via apps is that you and your date both have easy access to a catalog of partners. And while that sounds nice at first, it's not. Do apps work? Yes. For me, at least, I had success meeting people. I'm pretty busy with work, but I've met about 10 women in the last 2 years. The quality of dates was all over. Around 5 ended after a first date, sometimes due to me and sometimes due to her. Went on for a handful of dates. One has been going on for 2 years, but I'm still dating as we've grown more into friends with casual long-term goals. And I've passed on many other women who sent me offers, but that I didn't have enough interest to set aside time for, or who contacted me while I was dating another girl. Again, I'm fortunate in that I have an easier time with these apps, and this review is only meant to repeat my experience. How do I online date effectively? I can pass a few tips that work for me in online dating. The apps I used as a 30-year-old man living in a major city were Hinge and OkCupid. If you want to get matches, take good photos and don't be afraid to show off your quirks and character. You need to market yourself. Be memorable, positive, and confident. How? Well, search for men similar to you in character, education, and physical attractiveness, your competition. Find guys you can imagine respecting or befriending, and then notice what made their pictures and profiles good. When constructing your profile, break the mold of the traditional profile dialogue if you can. My Hinge is seriously goofy, and my OkCupid sounds ridiculous, and they get a ton of attention. When contacting women, use lighthearted humor to open, talk about her and your personal passions, typically stay away from discussing occupations or family, and plan on sparsely chatting for 1 to 3 days and then meeting within that week. That's your typical time frame. Occasionally use double entendre after the conversation is flowing, but be careful about overt non-humorous sexuality. Don't comment on her looks at all. Chat with good grammar and with a few sentences at a time. Dialogue is good. Diatribe is not. You will find a lot of people flaking on you even if they liked you first. That's all right. There are many reasons as to why that date didn't pan out. Refine your profile and assess how you communicate, but otherwise forge ahead. Why do apps suck? Apps may facilitate a meetup, but that inherently is a double-edged sword. Why? Because apps are catalogs and it will restructure how you think about dating. Hinge is like window shopping for a mate. You're attracted to so many matches, and simultaneously you begin to compare all of their features. I imagine Tinder is similar but perhaps worse. OkCupid is another story. The desktop version is very intense, as it lets you look at a lot of information, which is super cool if you're seeking something specific, but reading too deeply makes you feel like you've actually met the person. You can end up spoiling the mystery and making a judgment without actually experiencing them firsthand as a human. The level of information is almost punitive. If you use OkCupid, try not to dive too deep into someone's profile. The major issue is that your dates can also experience online dating like catalog shopping. The women you may find most desirable have easy access to multiple male suitors. If they date you, then that's a good sign, but they still have so much access to others. If they're not 100% sure what they're looking for, like most people, they may find that ease of access inherently fatiguing. So that's why online dating depresses me, as it's somewhat addictive and makes me feel like I'm looking at a catalog of women. And a catalog is a set of ads, a set of superficial and manicured profiles. So, can you meet women in real life? Absolutely, you can. It's easiest if you live in a city, though, and it's easiest if that's not your primary goal. Make your goal to have fun socially. Hang out with your friends. Make new friends. The more people you spend time with, the more new ones you'll meet. Reunite with people you haven't seen in a while. Rally people to host a game night with beer, food, and wine. If you don't have a social circle, then join a meetup group. There are so many rewarding hobbies to try out, and you'll befriend people. Art lessons, climbing gyms, archery clubs, you name it. You don't need to commit for the long haul. Just go have fun and learn some new stuff. Fun begets fun, I promise. Cafes, coffee shops, and libraries also work. I frequent a couple of spots to do work or relax and am on a first-name basis with the staff. How do you meet the staff? Well, introduce yourself. You've seen this person multiple times. Why don't you know their name? If you're a regular and see them repeatedly, it's reasonable to get to know them as a person. Plus, it's a great way to boost your social prowess and meet cool people. Anyway, I often strike up conversations with cafe patrons if I or they don't seem too busy. It's remarkably easy to walk up and make a positive bit of dialogue with a woman with a good book, sketchpad, or fluffy dog. That dialogue is usually short, but sometimes it turns into a conversation and a number. It's easier to meet women during daylight hours. Way easier. Women seem to be afraid of men at night, unless in a super comfortable environment where you also appear to have friends of your own that appear trustworthy. Women during the daytime will give you the time of day, as long as you're not interrupting their work. Conclusion: I would recommend apps if you are new to an area, if you lack social circles, or if you are seeking a very specific type of relationship. But I've started flirting more and getting dates the organic way. I'm much happier as a result. It's way more of a thrill to meet someone in real life and navigate yourself towards a date. It's very doable, but you need to approach it with the right mindset. So what's the secret to dating the old-fashioned way? It's having fun with your own life and investing energy in socializing. You will meet people, some of them being women, but you can only do so if you put yourself out there. If you lack social confidence, I can recommend resources. Charisma is not innate, it's a skill. Can be trained. If you're an introvert, then stick with activities to drive your social circles and muster up that social energy when you've got it. Okay, my coffee high finished, and I don't feel like editing. Hope someone found this essay useful.